good. I love that color on you.
Oh my God, thank you. Yeah, I scrambled to find something to wear.
Same.
I was like,
same.
I want to look professional, but I don't want to look, it was a mess. I tried on like 10 different outfits. I wanted to be comfortable too.
I can share you the YouTube link. So one moment, you guys can see the chat here, I think. And send. If you guys want to share it out, you guys can.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we just click on it. Oh wait.
We copy it, and then she's asking us to send it.
Oh wait.
If you want to share it to YouTube, Twitter, wherever.
Okay, I'll go put it on Twitter.
How do you okay, wait, chat. Okay. Copy. And then we can just go put it on Twitter.
Yep.
Yes.
And say, come watch.
They come hang.
We're having some discussion.
Okay. Come hang with me and at Sam and at healing page.
Oh my goodness.
And the
all right.
Okay. All right, I did it. So
I'm back, but how do I? Oh, there's the video.
Okay, close. I think this should. Okay. And then do we know if people have come in the chat?
I can keep my laptop on, and then we can if there's any question anyone asks,
okay, cool,
I can read for everyone.
Cool.
All
right,
I'm so excited. Maybe we can go back to talking about I
think I froze just now, so yeah, continue.
I see you. Talk about like kind of what started this whole thing, back to that tweet that we all decided to get together and talk about this.
Yeah.
But Jess, your tweet, right and wrong, and not to get, what was it? Not to get, take it personal when somebody disagrees with you.
Yes. Yes. And like how I'm actually learning this in like my personal life, like how disagreements should like bring you and the other person closer if you're evolved enough emotionally and can like understand your triggers. Like I think recently I've been having a hard time feeling okay with my triggers, and then I'm just throwing like shame on them, and then I like don't understand why I'm in like a disagreement. But it's also important to know, like, when you're in a disagreement with somebody, it's probably like one or both of you are triggered or are going to be triggered. And I think that's where we like as a collective kind of lose each other, is like, oh yeah, like I don't even realize like you're triggered, I don't even realize I'm triggered, and now we're just like angry when like we really just want to be understood.
Vulnerability.
So, yeah.
I think that with disagreeing, or like as you're saying, the trigger, I don't think you can, like, I think you can get triggered, but I think there's other cases where it's okay just to disagree, and it might not have to do with anything emotionally. You just share a different opinion. But yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that is what Sam say is basically how me and another friend of mine, I have also get on live and chat with her before. She's Amy. Okay, sometimes I mess up her name. Yeah, forgive me. So yeah, there are often times when because we all grow up in different culture, different different experience growing up, so we might have different opinion or different perspective on a certain thing. So when we are coming to that, I think it's very important for us to sometimes like take a deep breath and just, you know what, it is okay to, like, it's okay for the other person to have that opinion, and I don't agree with it, but doesn't mean that they are wrong.
No,
Does that make sense?
it doesn't mean anybody's wrong or right. And I think that language is actually very hindering and limiting to such a broader nuance, like right and wrong tends to be associated with morals, and morals and right and wrong tend to be associated with a hierarchy. And when we put like one person's opinion above another's, it just tends to it's not, you go from thinking everybody is one and we're all on the same level and everybody deserves equality to this person's better than this person because of their opinion, and that is where I think we get stuck from moving forward and like actually utilizing disagreement as a tool for growth. So.
Exactly. I channeled something a long time ago. I think it was something like when like conflict is met with like understanding or like attempting to try and understand where the other person's coming from, it can like, you can have a breakthrough. It was a lot shorter and sweeter than that, but it was like in the height of everything that was going on last summer. But it's like, for me, if I'm disagreeing with somebody, like I want to try and like understand, like that's the foundation. If like, I don't agree with you, like, and I also feel like we've lost all sense of like respect and like understanding that we all didn't come here to make the same choices. Like I didn't have what you had for breakfast this morning. You're not going to have what I had for dinner. Like I truly look at it like that. And it's like, I don't care what you're doing tomorrow. Why do you care what I do today? Like there's just this whole like
intrusive.
Yes,
almost.
yes, exactly. It's very intrusive. And it's like, for me, I don't like that because I love to live with like my heart open and like seriously, the heart chakra is my favorite chakra. Like I love like understanding people. And like the past year just made me be like, damn, like people are like losing it. Like they're batshit. Like it's weeding out the crazies. And like in so many ways, and like it truly makes me so thankful and also appreciative of like the human experience, because again, we talked about this, like on some level we did all ask to come here and experience this. So Sam, like you were saying, it's like I know what I'm supposed to do, but how do I get from like point A to B? Like how do I navigate this, because it can be super frustrating, really frustrating.
I was waiting to see if Paige wanted to say anything, but yeah. And as I was saying earlier, like with the whole, like, there's so much going on in the world. We all feel like we want to save the world. And especially with the Palestine incident going on and all this, everything, there's all these issues and it can be really overwhelming. And it just like, it's overwhelming to the point where you like get stuck, like where you stop, you freeze, you don't know what to do. How do you help? A lot of people like to repost information, even though that in itself can be overwhelming to energetic sensitivity. So that's why I haven't really posted anything, as I was saying, because, I want to make a purposeful action towards something and intentionality. I want to be intentional with how I help. And I think that's why we have to start within our own communities first before we go out and try to like save everybody in the whole world. Like, I think it begins within your home. It begins within your neighborhood, and replicating that, once you figure out like the right combination of how to do it within your own community, trying to go out and do it elsewhere. And that's how I think you can make actual meaningful change in the world. Because that's so easier. It really, you can't get across the world. If you're living across the world, how do you get there? So like you got to start here where you are now, presently, with the people around you. So
this is why I love you, Sam.
I love you.
So I really resonate a lot with what Sam is saying, because I grew up in Tao teaching, and Tao teaching they actually have one saying is that if you want to help the community, you want to help the country, you have to start helping from your own, within your own house, within your own household, within your own family. So it actually starts from small, that everyone, think about it, if everyone is taking care of, their small community, their household, and that is alone is changing the world. you know, like everyone is just focusing on making the best of your household, that alone is changing the world. You don't need to go out and change the world.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of us have to redefine even what like our familiar structural means to us as adults compared to like when we were children. And especially if you had a dysfunctional upbringing, like how do you replicate, you know, a healthy structure that you were looking for as a child? So it all begins with the family. It all begins with your root, with your ancestry, your lineage, everything, like ground. So
Yeah.
I think about how like advanced technology has come in like even the last 10 years, and how like it can be great, but also like I don't need to know what's happening in like a million different people's lives like every day. Like mindful scrolling, that is like seriously, like Twitter has made me do this where I'm like, okay, you're just like angry, you're complaining, okay, like didn't need to see that like made like reading that made my like solar plexus like tweak. Okay, like I need to get off. Like it's not like our brains aren't meant to consume like so much information at once, and it's like we have literally normalized like being overwhelmed. And I think that's why like part of the reason why we're all just like so anxious and attached to it, because it's like, well, without it, what are we going to do? Like, if we don't wake up and check our phones, like, what else would we do? And it's like, there's so much more we could be doing. And I think we forget that. Like, I think we forget that, like, we're in control of what we consume, and like, we can just delete it and like never look back. And like, I have contemplated that so many times, but then also, like Twitter has been an amazing place because I would not be here right now talking to you guys. So it really is like you have to just kind of weed it out, and then like almost like do the energy work, like you were saying, Paige, like for how you had to like do energy work on yourself after for like 4 days, like, you know, listen to like a light language video, or like send yourself some Reiki, or just like do a detox. Cause it's like, it really is such a balance, because like for like months there could just be like every story that you like scroll through is something like that's going to make you feel bad, that's going to trigger you, that's going to, oh, okay, they're out on vacation while I'm just like stuck at home doing whatever, that makes me feel bad. And it's like our brains, like this is all so new to us, and I think we also forget that as a collective, like we're all just, I picture us as like ants without like the leader, and we're all just like, what are we doing? Like that's what to me like like it feels like.
And not just the ants without a leader, but because the ants are without a leader, so one of them do something different, everyone just follow them blindly.
Yes. That is a beautiful way to put it. It's like following blindly, and like God forbid you like think for
have
yourself.
a different opinion.
Yes, it's like, oh my God. But like again, that's why we like chose to come in these like human bodies and experience like differences. Like differences are okay. That is literally a reminder that like we're alive and are human. Like
no, it's true.
How boring would life be if we were all the same? And I'm not gonna be around to see humanity go through this, but like seriously, in my like Jessica fantasy of like the collective, it's like we want to know why we disagree with somebody, and like want to pick their brain about it instead of shaming them and making them feel like they did something wrong.
Yeah. Like sometimes I do think that is necessary, finding why did they think this? How did they come to this conclusion? Because it actually can be really helpful and assist you in changing or improving your own opinion. And that's why I think it's important. But at the same time, you're totally allowed to, whatever you learn, reject, you know, like you don't have to take it as truth, take whatever resonates for you. But, and then other times I don't even think it's necessary, to even go that far. Sometimes it's just, you don't have to necessarily understand like exactly why they came to that conclusion, but you don't have to shame them for coming to it. Like it can be super simple. And I think like with Twitter is just a very, very interesting energetic space. And I don't know if you guys have ever like had this happen to you or like have felt this, but like, have you ever felt like you've had to like stop from sending a tweet? Like there's things you can't share on Twitter. There's certain opinions that you're not like Twitter's not ready for or something. And I find myself like, especially with the Akashic stuff, like holding back in certain ways because I know it's not the time or it's not the place, or trying to write it somewhere else where I feel like it will be more receptive or more received easier, because like Twitter's not receptive and in a lot of ways. And if you say one wrong thing, I feel like that there's that cancel culture and that's how all this misunderstanding happens. It's crazy. It's a whole cycle.
Yeah.
It's,
yeah. Okay. I personally don't resonate with cancel culture. It's just weird. Is that cancel culture is that, okay, I follow you and I like everything that you do, but now that you say one thing that I don't agree with, and I have to cancel you because I don't agree with that thing. Even though I love everything you do, I don't like that thing. So I don't want to resonate with you anymore. So it doesn't make sense. Like,
it doesn't make sense. It's like you said with the ant thing, the ant analogy. Everybody just follows that one ant. It's because a lot of people, they are very unsure. Maybe they don't know who they are. Maybe they're not strong in their truth and things like that. So it can be easy to project out those insecurities onto more public people or people who have a lot of opinions. And, you know, just it's like taking the responsibility of working through your own emotional issues and projecting it onto another person to deal with for you, which is why it's so important as healers that we resonate with that, that we make sure we have like strong energetic boundaries. Because like, that's a lot, like that's a lot to expect from people.
Yeah, just
it's a lot. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten to like this point in your journey where it was like, so I struggled with like not setting boundaries and like letting people walk all over me. And then I guess like a few years ago, it was like, I wouldn't get like punished, but I would feel off. Like I would intuitively know to like set a boundary or like speak up or say something. And if I didn't, it was like going to be worse than if I didn't. And like, I started to like, honestly, that was the beginning of like me knowing myself, because it was like, oh, like life is meant to flow a lot smoother. Like when you set boundaries, like you're supposed to set boundaries, and that helps you like understand yourself. And I feel like people who are super like easily triggered by like even silly stuff, like people can like turn anything, like you could be like happy like day, the sky is blue and great, and somebody's like, well, you know what, like I'm having a really shit day, so like fuck you. And it's like and I feel like those people have no boundaries with themselves and no knowledge of self, because it's like somebody who's just like good and like right with themselves doesn't even have the time to like open an app, see something that has nothing to do with them, and then like make somebody feel bad. Like that's truly what I feel like Twitter is just a bunch of people who are like, who don't know themselves and are trying to find themselves through conflict because it makes them feel powerful. And it's like, no, you're just like perpetuating the fact that you're not comfortable in who you are. You're not powerful because you're choosing to like stir, I don't know, to me like anger and like like triggered energy is very like, it looks like lightning to me. And I just feel like people like that, I keep seeing like a rainstorm and like a thunderstorm, and it's like people are secure themselves, don't do that. Like I'm sorry. And like I get it, because I have this too. Like there are days when like you're feeling a little feisty, but I would never, like, you know, you say a little thing or like you're like, yeah, you know, I do kind of have that time today, but it's never like mean or hurtful. It's like a little sassy, but I just feel like a lot of people are just really angry and don't have a place to express it. And I think social media and projecting their difference of opinions onto other people is a great way for them to express it.
That was really interesting point you brought up. I didn't realize it, but I think Twitter Twitter can be that vacuum at times, where people feel like that's the only place they can express themselves. That's crazy. I never thought about it like that.
Because like, even if their profile picture isn't even them, could be a fucking like frog or a Bratz doll or a Powerpuff Girl or a crow. Like they don't like. It's so easy to just like be yourself, but not.
Social media, and this is a problem, and this is, you know, something that goes back to even how we socialize as humans now. It takes away your humanness. You know, people only see a screen. They don't hear you speak. They don't see you. And I think that's why it can be a lot of like very easy for people to project that. Like they don't see you as human. They see you as an avatar, you know? And they don't even, and it's such a small window. Social media is such a tiny window into somebody's life. And it, a lot of times you don't even know the context of how that person reached that point. Which is why like I try to be neutral with Twitter, and a lot of things I see, I don't really get triggered anymore with things I see on Twitter, because I'm just like, that's that person's experience. Moving on. Like, that's all I can say about that.
And seriously, when I'm seeing conflict happening on Twitter, sometimes I'm just like, haha, and here is another round.
Oh my God. With my records, like I mind my business. My Akashic records, even if I want to like, you know, defend a friend or something like that, like my records are like, no, do not engage. And I'm just like, okay, there's times when I already know that. And there's times where I'm like, really? But I don't say shit. I don't say shit about what I've dealt with myself. None of that, because it's, what is it contributing? What is it contributing but more cyclical drama and things like that? When, as we've been talking about, like, I think all three of us here can agree, like things that we're really concerned with in the world is things in our own community. This is where our energy is. This is where our purpose lies. So it just doesn't feel purposeful to contribute to a continue like destructive narrative on Twitter. I don't know. When there's more things you can use your time with.
Yes, more like in-person stuff.
I don't want to give all my energy to the vacuum that is Twitter or social media. I think it's like a perfect place. Like imagine all of that energy that we give to Twitter, all that energy everybody gives to conflict.
My Wi-Fi.
Like, can you imagine that going elsewhere?
Right.
I see you, Paige.
Paige, okay? Did she freeze?
Ooh, she may have froze.
Mm.
Oh,
I think I will.
Yes,
I see you.
So I was just like, oh no, yeah, my Wi-Fi kind of sucks. So
that's right.
It's okay. But yeah, I just think all that energy we're putting towards all of that can be used somewhere else. And it's really giving your power away. That's what it is. You're giving your power away to somebody else, to some cause, to something, when you should be redirecting it. Because what does that leave your energy? Where is that? Who's using that energy on Twitter? You know, that energy doesn't sit there. It gets harvested. Like
harvesting it. When that whole thing that went down literally like a year ago, I can so proudly say I did not say a single thing. Instead, I sent an email because my higher self the whole time was like, do not. Like, it's not like, you know, in your highest, truest self, like, it's like whatever you say, it's going to be twisted and manipulated more. So don't place yourself, don't give your power away, essentially. Because like all that was she has power. I need to take it from her. And I was like, no, like, you're not going to do that. I'm not going to let you do that. And so that was such a, like, I was so, honestly, I will forever be proud of myself for how I handled that.
I'm proud of you too. I've known about this whole thing for like well over a year. And I just think that you did handle it way better than I thought I could have handled it myself. And you just stood in your energy and you didn't let anybody budge you from it. And I think that's what true empowerment can be, like sitting in your energetic sovereignty and not letting anybody move you unless you intend to move.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like, I mean, I got like weird, like a few like weird fake accounts on like Instagram, like that, like those few days following. And I was just like, return to sender. Like you're literally like, oh my God, like you're literally talking to yourself. And so like when I typed that email, I was like, I'm going to write this as if I was like talking to myself with like love and compassion. And like, it was met with rage and just anger that had nothing to do with me. Like, it's so funny when you can like see so clearly that like when somebody's angry, it feels like they're angry at you, but they're really like angry at themselves. And so like, I was like in an energetic place where I could like understand that. And I think that's like something, if like we could all get there and like understand, even like dealing with people like in person, like it really has nothing to do with us. But then it does, because I was like, Saturn ruled. I like to look for the lesson in things. So I'm like, well, this does have something to do with me, but I don't have to take it personally. I can choose to maybe identify the lesson if there is one, but I don't need to add this as like a fucking like, sorry, excuse my language.
It's all good. It's all
Mercury
good.
and Capricorn, I don't care.
I'm surprised I haven't cursed yet.
I'm like, oh, there it is. But yeah, like you can like learn to identify things and like even get triggered, but you don't have to take it personally. And I think that that's how you can use social media mindfully, essentially.
Well, you don't have to take it to like heart. You don't have to like let it like traumatize you, I guess you could say, like re-traumatize you. Because that's a way that you're giving your energy away, you know, like you're making this person's like truth about you, like your truth, when it doesn't have to be. That's how you know it's in your energetic space, like that person's in your space, and that's how you can gently like push that out, because that's not how you would think about yourself, you know. A lot of those thoughts are not truly how your higher self or your soul will talk to you. So
you said it so beautifully, Sam.
I have to say,
yeah,
how'd you handle things last year? I take it as an example because I recently went through similar things, and I was just like, I wanted to react. I have like a statue mark. I wanted to fight, and I'm just like, calm, Tish, calm. Let's calm down and not react. I got so many hate mails, like, you know, like those involved, like they're sending me long ass email, and I'm just like, as I read it, I just feel so bad about myself. But I have to force myself to take a step back and just like delete everything and not react, just not react.
Now I'm like angry for you. I'm trying not to be, but no, I just think that that's not okay. That's not okay. It, like you said, even if you disagree with someone, just like do so with respect. I don't think people know how to disagree with like politeness and love and compassion. Like those are the fundamental ways to respond to somebody. Compassion being like the forefront of how you can like use it as a lens to interact and communicate with people. Like that goes for everything. Like you can use compassion as a tool for any kind of situation. And when it comes to like, you know, when somebody thinks you did something wrong, like you don't have to agree with that. And you don't have to like take it in as your truth or make yourself feel bad or any of that, because like that's their truth. And if you don't resonate with it, that's okay. That's okay. That's all you have to do. But being held accountable versus like being slandered, that's like been a huge thing. I think a lot of us have been witnessing this year and last year, you know, like how do you take accountability, but also not let yourself be slandered, and discerning who is actually trying to hold you accountable versus who is just trying to tear you down and your image and all that. And it's very interesting. I've dealt with a lot of this, like behind the scenes, I guess you could say. And Jess, but I can relate to kind of what you just went through, Paige. Something similar, but not really. But yeah, and it's just like, it can feel unfair too at times, because if you know yourself and you feel like you're a person with integrity and you try to show up authentically as yourself, you know, it can feel like an attack or betrayal, you know, but it's like that whole going back to, that's their truth. You don't have to take it personal. Like what you said about the anger, like, you know, that's not anger at you, but that's like an insecurity within them or whatever it is. And it's just trying to have compassion for that. Like, I don't have any hate, I would say, for anybody in the past who's ever done me wrong or whatever. I just wish people well. And I try to move forward, because that's all you can do. Like, if that person no longer resonates with you, then go ahead. You're allowed to leave. You don't have to stay here. You don't have to resonate with my page or anything like that. You know, like, change is inevitable. You're allowed to go. That's another thing. I feel like people don't get it. Like, you don't have to say anything on your exit. You can just exit.
You don't have to put up a fight like with me before you go. Like, you can just click unfollow and bye.
Yeah, save us a lot of time. Like, because what is your energy like? It's that whole, like, you're giving your power away thing. Like, why, if you're not holding somebody accountable, why are you like trying to tear somebody down? Where is that coming from? And like, I see that as like a society, like, we have this issue, and like, it makes me think about like the root, like even further back. And actually, I'm getting deep now because I got the Conversations with God book here. And I remember reading about how, like, it's the way our system is set up. It's like every man for themselves, you know, capitalism, and like, you know, people, individualism. So it's like, we've forgotten that, like, how to take care of each other. We've forgotten to move together as a community, and like, that there's plenty of resource here for all of us. It's just not distributed evenly. So it's like, how do you like go to that root and heal that? And that's why I think it all stems back to community.
Sam,
sorry, that was a lot.
No, you said something so good, and I just want to like speak on it. You said like speaking with kindness and love and compassion. It's like, if you're not talking to yourself with kindness, love, or compassion, chances are you're not going to be talking to other people like that. So I even do this like consciously, like when I have conversations with people, I'm almost like, wow, they're just like talking to themselves, and like I'm the physical form for them to see themselves through in like another perspective or another way. So it's like, when people spew hate at you or love at you, that is how they talk to themselves. And like, that is honestly what really helps me, like when I see people on Twitter, or even just like in a normal day-to-day like interaction, like, because I'm Pisces moon, like I am sensitive. I got a little argument with Dylan last night about how I can take things personally, and I think it's also, I have that to also show people like, hey, like, you can't just like talk to people like that, but also I'm a little sensitive. But I think it's like, okay, well, I don't have to take it so personally, because that's how they talk to themselves. And so,
and that's
like,
why it's not even a punishment. It's
yes,
like, you can't even like, why punish that person? Because they're already punishing themselves. And also, you have also been that person at one point, you know, like I have been that way, or else I wouldn't be who I am now. Because like, it's the duality. You learn through experience, and that's how you gain awareness. So it's like, there's no need to send that hate back or to argue or anything like that. It's like, I'm not even judging you. I'm not even mad. I get it. Like, sometimes, of course, I'll react like right away, because you're like, like, you're like, what the hell?
Energetic bombardment. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. You're like, wait, what the fuck just happened? I've definitely been working through like confrontation lately. Like, this has been a theme of mine for this year. Like, learning to like healthily, safely confront like my friends. Like, I've had to like, and they're not even confrontations. It's just like, how do I bring up something to somebody I love that has made me feel this way. And I just would like to communicate better. It's like all learning about how to communicate and feeling safe to do so. I think that's important. And I think that's why a lot of people, you know, feel the need to be conflicting or things like that, because they don't feel safe enough to express their hurt, being vulnerable.
Well, they think they're going to get yelled at, so they need to do the yelling first.
Wow. That is
Or
profound.
It's like, who's the most powerful? That's what it is. Like, how can you act like you're the toughest or you're the meanest or whatever it is without the realization that that comes back to you. Like, you hurting another will hurt you, because it's the whole idea that we're all one, you know? So like what goes around comes back, and it's like you're hitting yourself when you're hitting another. But dude, this conversation's great.
Love it. Yes.
I also want to add is that sometimes some people do not know how to communicate, and because of that lack of communication, it like allow the other to have a misunderstanding about them.
Yes.
I learned this a lot from because recently I reconnected with my mom. I stopped talking to her for a whole year because there was some misunderstanding. I thought she was like, you know, not happy for me and you know, like sometimes we get into our head and then we will start to think of the worst of the person because we don't understand them or don't understand where they're coming from. Yeah. So now that I understand her more, like our relationship just grow back and like, you know, it's closer than ever.
I guess I'm going to say, but we all probably have mommy issues here. And I don't know why, but I think like all me and my friends, like it's not the dad, it's the mom. But I understand what you're saying, Paige, because I did like not talk to my mom for about 3 months last year. And like, I've had to learn how to communicate with her better and how to understand her a little bit better. Like when she'll still sometimes get a little over worrying or a little overprotective, and she'll tell me, hey, you got COVID and this and this. And I'm like, I'll just be like, I thank you for your concern, but I'm fine. And I leave it at that. In the past, I'd be really triggered and reactionary and annoyed to be getting this text over and over and over again. And I just couldn't understand why she would continue to do it. But like now I'm trying to see that my mother's concerned for me. She loves me. It's okay. I can just tell her I understand and leave it at that. And I don't have to do anything. Like I can still go on and live my life and not have to take that into account. God. The moms.
Yeah. My mom is overbearing.
Yeah, what are you gonna say?
No, my mom is overbearing as well. And she like why I stopped talking to her is because she was like she sent me like 10 messages at once, and I was just like, no.
My mom was the same way for like a long time. Like
for me, it's like triggering because it's like, do you not trust me? Have I not like proved myself enough? Like, oh my goodness. And it's like, then I think it's kind of like a little devastating too, because it's like, damn, like I'm doing all this great stuff, but like, you're so worried about me. And then like, honestly, literally moving to like the West Coast made me realize this, like mom's worrying and stuff. It's like I truly see why my mom was so worried about me when I was 18, 19, like going here, going there, going places I shouldn't have been, because like, it's a beautiful world, but it is like a scary world. Like I can't be like, la, 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 la. And so I told Dylan, I was like, wow, like actually like understand my mom now, why she was so like concerned, because like there was stuff that happened to me like in Portland and even in like Seattle where I was like, I had to buy mace. I've never had to buy mace in my life. And I had to buy mace because I was like just attracting these scary situations. And I don't know if it was like, I'm going to sound crazy, but I almost feel like being naive can like protect you in a way. I know it sounds awful, but like I was really naive in my teenage years, and like I never experienced anything like I was experiencing in the West Coast when I
ignorance is bliss.
Girl, truly. But it is a little trigger, and it's also like I'm not 12 years old. You're not 12 years old. We're all in our 20s. Like we're all grown women, and it's like I look at it as like, well, my mom would treat herself this way. So on some level, like maybe my mom doesn't trust herself enough to go out and like do all these things. So why would she do that for me? Like, it's hard because it's like we like came from these people. But then also I have to be objective and kind of use all my Capricorn logic and just look at it as like another person. And that actually helps me be more compassionate in a very weird way.
Yeah.
By looking at her as like just another person. Like that's how I can like feel emotion, as by like removing the mom label and like just seeing her as like another person. Cause like, I don't know, maybe it's my Venus in Aquarius where it's like, if I don't know you, I kind of in a weird way have like more compassion for you. But yeah, like
that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad I
Because
didn't sound like a bitch.
you understand on one level, your mom she's acting from the level of perceptions she's currently at. And since you're on a different level of perception, which is not better, it's just a different level, you can see that and you can understand compassionately why she would be concerned, why she would do this and that. But at the same time, have boundaries for it not to, overwhelm you and stuff like that. Like, but how you said, like detaching from the mother role and associating her with like every other person. Like that's what I had to do with my mom. I had to be like, I wouldn't let anybody else treat me this way. So why would I just because she's my mother, So it's really hard. And a lot of the times I know for people that seems really cruel, but like, it's like, I can love you unconditionally, but I can't have a relationship with you if you can't respect my boundaries, just because I love you doesn't mean we have to have a relationship. And that's a lot of people in my life. I have a lot of old friends I still really love. And like, I'll never say anything bad about them. I still love them a lot, but they're not in my life anymore. Because I no longer can have a relationship with them. It's just, that's how it works. Like,
it's life, some people you grow with forever, some people you don't. And like, that's okay. Like getting attached to people and things and thinking they're going to be in your life is going to set you up for literally the biggest disappointment in your life. Like thinking everything's going to be permanent. Like that's where we get lost in the damn sauce, is like, no, like I probably won't be here in a year. Like maybe I will. It's okay if I am. It's okay if I'm not. Like I may lose friends this year. I may make more friends this year. I don't know, who's to say, but like that perspective has helped me really appreciate like the people I do have in my life, because like I do know that like life doesn't give a fuck about us and will switch up on us at any time, in a good way. And then in the ways that are like shocking and super sudden. But thinking that things and people are going to be in our lives forever is not realistic. And that took me such a long time to like accept. It's like, well, what do you mean? Like I'm emotionally attached to this thing. Like I'm also going to lose myself. But I've learned so much like the past 5 years that like, if I'm losing myself, I'm only getting more of myself back in the end.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Good.
Thank you.
Especially with Saturn on retrograde and Mercury on retrograde. These are perfect conversation.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like to add on label. Okay, like just mentioned and Sam mentioned as well, removing the mom label. I think that is very important for any label. Like even on Twitter, like why so many issues on Twitter, because people seeing this account as this great healer or this great spiritualist, this great leader, and they kind of like stuck on that leader, that label, and stop allowing the person to be a human. Like you see so much, like they are human, like let them be human. I keep on asking, I'm like tweeting about that a lot too. I'm just like,
well, and they've placed them on that pedestal, and then they want that person to be responsible for their disappointment. You disappointed them because you didn't behave in the way they have idealized them in your head, and that's not fair. So it's crazy, but I think the death of the idol is definitely what we're living through right now. Celebrity culture and political culture and everything, like we're witnessing the demantalizing, or whatever the word is, of the idol. because like there's no one person that has more influence than another. I think that was in Dee's channeled message this week. I can't remember, but
shout out.
The Akashic Records always has great wisdom, and but it's just that person giving away their power, their truth, their influence to another person by building that person up. And I think like for me, like anything I say on Twitter, it's just coming from my own truth, but I'm not expecting anybody to agree or whatever. I'm just, one, it's a place for me to express that truth, and two, it's a way, so maybe if somebody does, like it'll help somebody else, maybe they'll realize that, like the whole mom label or any label, like removing that label helps you to see that person as human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God, like I don't know about you guys, but I'm not doing like my spiritual like routine 24/7. Like I'm not like, I don't know, sprinkling like I had a friend. Okay, listen, I had one of my friends was dating somebody, and they were like hardcore spiritual all the time, like handing me a water bottle and being like, listen, Sam, this water, it's like purified by the 5D, set crystalline in the 12th D sun, like it's gonna make you ascend, just it's charged with like Lumerian crystals. And like they would say that about, like they could say it about air, and it's like, yeah, I get like being spiritual, but trust me, a lot of the times I'm human as shit. I'm on my couch watching freaking The Office, okay? Like I'm not, I think, I don't know if people like see that like on Twitter, like they think we're all just like what I just said, but half the time we're just people living our lives fucking up.
It's like the more spiritual you become, the more human you become. Like you become more human as you incorporate your spirituality.
Yes. That's something I recently learned too. It's like my ancestors were like, the more grounded you become, the more, in tune with this sensual experience that's on earth, like the more powerful, the more psychic you grow, because you're able to take on more consciousness. So like, yeah, like I know, like I think you were mentioning my stories, they like showcase my cute little like perfect life, but sometimes it's not so perfect. I'll tell you what, like there's a lot of funny things that happen to me that I'm just like almost getting struck by lightning the other day. Like I was like, what the shit?
Like one of my worst fears. I'm not even kidding. Like when there's a lightning storm, I'm like, should I like go hide in the closet? Like, I don't know what it is. It's an irrational fear. Sam, holy shit. I don't know. I would have like had a panic attack on the beach and like screamed.
No, with every
yeah, I'm saying both of you need to stay away from where I am.
I know you were talking about it. You get a lot of lightning.
Yeah, over here the lightning are so close that you can see that it's purple in color, and I'm just like, okay.
Oh my god! Is there thunder too? Do you get a lot of thunder?
Yes, thunder and lightning is a thunderstorm like every other day.
Is it seasonal?
Pardon?
Is it seasonal, like in just the spring, summer, or is it like all year round?
All year round. It's all year round over here. The weather is similar-ish. So it's humid, it's warm, and then there is a thunderstorm, like they will come in within half an hour or something, like without warning. It could be very bright and sunny, and then half an hour later, boom, and I'm just like, dude, I'm trying to work.
God.
Yeah, I would never live somewhere like that.
Props to you, Kate. That's wow.
I know, that's some strength. Like you are badass.
Seriously. I'd be so scared.
You're badass for making it through those thunderstorms.
I'm looking forward to move back to Japan now.
Okay, I'm over it here. Time to go back.
Yeah, I know. I told that to my friend. I was like, and in Japan that doesn't have thunderstorm every other day. But my friend was like, you know what? But Japan has earthquake. Earthquake can kill you. Thunderstorm is likely not going to kill you.
Yeah, but it's more irrational. It's funny. I grew up somewhere where there's a lot of earthquakes too, so I almost would rather take an earthquake. Like, I don't know,
Did you
like,
ever?
I'm used to them.
Did you
Huh?
ever experience an earthquake, Sam?
Oh, so many. Like, so many. I grew up in the Bay Area. Like, earthquakes were norm. I've actually, it's weird, but where I live now, I've experienced a few earthquakes, and I never knew that this area even got earthquakes. I was like, wait, I've never experienced an earthquake here. And now suddenly I am. And I'm like, what is going on? On the spiritual side, I'm like, huh, you know, because I
What's
think
going on literally underneath the surface? What the fuck is activating this?
yes,
Well,
I think I channel my records about it, but like earthquakes are like it's shaking up foundations energetically so that new things can grow from it. So it was like, and is imagine like when an earthquake happens, like older buried earth can be unearthed, you know? So like imagine like ancient stuff, ancient codes coming back online that were once like around and then they got buried and now they're back, you know? And that's how we can see that with like let's see, like new things being unearthed in like Egypt. There was like a whole new tomb that got unearthed, and it's like that's how I think of it when it comes to like earthquakes and stuff.
That's so cool.
But
and
it's like
I
new stuff.
yeah, I
Go
do
ahead.
channel that is a change in the shift in ley lines as well. So that's why
Yes.
there is all this earthquake happening. So the ley lines like literally just shifting, not just
It's the
earthquake,
grid.
and also all the all the weather changes. So all of this happens when the ley line shifts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the grid moving around. New codes and all that. It's super cool. Every natural disaster, I just think everything has a purpose. Like if you can understand what that purpose is, you can either utilize that information or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
just Mama doing her thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This conversation's been so good.
I know. Oh no. Okay, I'm back.
That was just too excited.
No. Imagine I just did that. Like, okay, bye.
You're like,
No, my phone said like it's down to like 20%. So it's like low power mode or close. I'm just like close. I'm not leaving yet. Not yet.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We cover quite a bit of different topics on labels, on right or wrong too. Yeah. Anything?
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, we're on a pause now. Guys, we're on a pause now.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Twitter culture, cancel culture, how everybody's just living from whatever perspective they're currently on. I think that's why I can't buy into the separation tactics in our media and stuff like that. Like, I will not choose a side, and it's not because I'm trying to be in the middle, but it's because I understand what the energy is behind that, and I'm choosing not to participate or give my energy to that. And I think going forward, it's like, how can you move within that neutrality within our society? Like, how can you, I think neutrality is not, it's not as simple as people make it to be. Like, it is an active choice to be aware of both sides and to choose to only move with intentionality towards it. So
like I said in my own Jessica fantasy, like we'd all have different opinions, understand that, and like not care. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm creating my reality to be is, okay, you want to go do those things? Like that's totally fine. I'm not here to judge you or to even tell you what to do. I think what triggers me is I don't like being told what to do. And so when I'm being told what to do, or people know what's better for me than I know what's better for me, that is something I literally have to like pray to my higher self or to God about, because I don't know how to get it. Like my human self isn't developed enough to like work around that without having some help, because like I know 5 years ago nobody gave a fuck what I was doing, and now all of a sudden it's like everybody cares what I'm doing, everybody cares what Sam's doing, everybody cares what Paige is doing, everybody cares what we aren't doing. And I tell like people close to me, I'm like, did I ask you what you had for breakfast this morning? Am I like bombarding you with questions about how you're handling like your family's trauma? Like, am I asking you like what you're working? Like, no, because like none of that matters to me. Like what you ate for breakfast doesn't matter to me. It's not going to impact me. And it's like what I'm doing with my life isn't going to impact you. And to think that like it is just shows how, and I say this so sad, like controlled we are. It's like, no, what I'm doing isn't going to affect you, because it's only going to affect you if you're letting it, like if you're letting it. And I feel like we're forgetting that. Like there's no accountability, like there's no personal responsibility. It's just blame, 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 blame. And it's like, this goes so deep. Like it's dividing, division. I literally can't talk. Mercury retrograde. It's dividing, it's division, but it's also like, this is like psychological warfare. And I think that makes people uncomfortable, and they would rather pretend it's not happening, but it fucking is. And like, we're choosing to handle this our way. The billions of other people on this planet are choosing how to handle it in their own way. And I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was like, this is all of our first time on Earth, right? Experiencing this as a collective. Like this moment has never happened before. This is all new for us. So nobody knows how to handle it. Nobody knows what's right or wrong. And so like, even the people like in charge don't even know what's going on anymore. Half of them are going to jail. Half of them are being paid money to say shit. Half of them are trying to get their truth out and can't. It's a whole mess. So you would think, right? Like we'd have a little compassion for each other, because literally no human on this planet has experienced this before. So instead of like forcing, shaming, guilting, fear-mongering people into whatever you want them to think, regardless of your opinion on it, that is so selfish. That is like, that goes beyond selfish to me, is like thinking that other people should do something because you want them to. That is not and never how this universe will operate. And so many people get like butthurt over that comment. And it's like, you need to go deal with that. Like you need to go deal with how you're handling that, because it's true. So yeah.
It's taking responsibility. It's taking your own responsibility for yourself.
Yes.
And that's what you're meant to do on this path. It can be a lot, but like, how can I be responsible for my emotions, for the way I live my life, for how I impact my community? And how can I leave a better impact on it than what was before?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you would think that something that's meant to divide us, it is what would like want us to come together, you know, because it's like, I literally have said this since the beginning, like with COVID, because that's clearly what I'm talking about, is like, this was such a freaking ripe opportunity for us to get it the fuck together and like unite and like want to understand each other. Like that's where we kind of lose each other, is like, I want to understand why you're choosing that. I want to understand why you're choosing to see me through that perspective or through that lens. Is that your own opinion? Is that somebody else's opinion on top of yours now being brought on to me that has nothing to do with me? So that's something that like I've been kind of where I feel like we all have our own job. It's very weird in how we're like handling this. I feel like we've all been like, it's so weird. I literally just started channeling this, but like we've all been kind of like assigned a role. And I feel like that's why I literally don't take anything personally with this whole thing. It's because like I almost know that I'm meant for this, like in how I'm handling it. if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys feel that way too.
I'm not sure, but that is I don't know, but that is an interesting concept. Like a role. I do think with the COVID thing, like, I'm not to say it's not going to bring us all together. I think like it was a catalyst for a lot of things to occur that are still in motion, that are still happening. And I think this is something that we're going to see projected into the next 5 years. So it's still playing out, but it's going to be interesting.
How is it in Japan, Paige? What is it like?
Actually,
now Malaysia.
No,
Malaysia. Yes, my bad. My mind is there.
I'm following up with Japan as well for some reason, because I don't know, I just love it there. So I've been following them and talking to people from Japan as well. They actually just started their, the Jappy thing. They just started that because their government took the time to really look into each and every of them and see which one is more suitable. And there were cases, so they actually delayed the the mass japping thing. Yeah, forgive me for using code words, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, but I think Japan did not have such a high case, so they are not exactly in a rush as well. I think they are nationwide. The highest case is about 1,000+ case, the highest.
Wow.
And I'm like, that is way better than all other countries.
Yeah.
Mine included. Mine currently is at 4,000+, and my mom has been sending me tons of messages as well. Please do not go out. I'm just like, okay, I'm staying home. My Taurus rising ass is happy staying home. Like, don't worry.
I have my snacks. I'm good. I'm fine.
Before we go, I want to hear about what you guys are working, what are you doing right now? I know we talked about it at the beginning, like what we're up to, but I think maybe ending it on like a hopeful, positive note.
I love the Sag in you, Sam.
An optimist forever.
No, yes. Okay, you go first.
Oh shit. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. If you want to go first, go first. That was very pushy of me. I'm sorry.
No. I love your directness.
Okay.
I said earlier, but I am working on building a community with Alex. Like that's coming soon. Like more on that later. But like getting into community work, like that's my next big step. Like focusing on like what can I contribute? What skills do I have to contribute to the community around me? Like I've assessed like what needs improvement already. I've assessed like what there's a lack of within this community. And well, there isn't a community for spiritual people where I'm at, like nothing organized, nothing like that. And so I think that's why I'm here, like, is to be the community that I'm looking for. Because when I first came here, I was looking for that and it wasn't there. And now Alex and I are going to be creating it. And I'm very excited because I think there are people like me. I just don't think there's nothing like there's no community for us to congregate or meet or whatever at. And I want it to be like really, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to do with it, just a lot of things. So I'm really excited to begin that because I think this is like my life's work. But I'm excited. I'm like, I'm nervous because I am a very like I like to be in my little hobbit hole and I'm very hermited and I love my solitude, and it forces me to be seen by like, it's different being seen online. It's like being seen in real life by real people, and like living in a small town, like people will recognize you after being seen that first. It's just nerve-wracking. Not that I want to dim my light, but sometimes when I go out, I don't want to talk to anybody and I just want to do my thing, get in, get out. Like, it's not like I'm trying to like hide. It's just like, sometimes I don't want to interact with anybody. I just I have to go out today, but on to you guys.
Yay. Well, I honestly am I feel like my physical body is just catching up from like the past year because it was such a whirlwind, like even still like processing like all the death that happened around me, including even like the collective death. So I was honestly guided to like take a step back from like, not that I ever even really like promoted myself a lot, because I really didn't, but that stopped a lot last year. And I just focused on like fun and like being around people that like loved me, and like spending a lot of time with Dylan, and like moving out and then moving to the West Coast, like finally after like 8 months of feeling super ungrounded, honestly, like nannying and just like vibing out. Like seriously, like I was so stressed because like Seattle, the nanny jobs there are amazing and like the pay is amazing, and I don't drive, so I was like a little nervous about finding work here. No reason to worry. So I think I'm just kind of coming into this like, but also like you said, Sam, like finding a community here, like living with this family is amazing. I love it. I feel like there's a lot of inner child stuff. Like now that I'm out of the home that I grew up in and like 3,000 miles away, it's like kicking like reparenting into high gear. So that's been like a thing that I'm working on, like still doing like my tarot readings and stuff. Like I get clients like every week. But that's just more so like, it's almost like if spirit allows it. Like if I'm too busy, I won't get clients. And then if I can, like, I have like a lighter week, I have more clients come in, and like doing my nanny stuff on the side, just like enjoying life. Like I'm truly in a period where it's like, holy fuck, like from like 2015 to like 2019 was just so like, it was brutal, like dark night of the soul, but like times 10, like unearthing like myself from like the inside out, and just like even being in an environment that didn't support that. It was like being triggered in the environment that was like triggering you, but you also had to like do shadow work to figure out how you could like overcome it. So now that I'm just like in this new place, I'm like, chill out, relax, like give yourself what you never had when you were a kid, and enjoy that. And if like I want to come out with new sessions or help people more, I'll do that. But like I need to give to Jessica now. Like truly,
I'm really proud of you.
Thanks, guys.
I'm happy for you that you're getting to witness a healthy, safe family and heal. You deserve it.
So awesome.
And Paige.
Yeah, Paige, what's you up to?
Well, I think I'm done settling down back home. I'm still getting used to the weather over here, and you'll probably see me complaining about it on Twitter. Recently I've been starting to rebuild my website. I was, overestimating myself and thought that I would be finished it in 1 month, and it is not done yet. Like it is only half done.
Take your time.
Finish it. Also, I'm doing some revamping on my services, that I don't do direct healing anymore, but more like a session, like guiding other people how to heal themselves. So that is a new step, new move. I think not much of an energy worker that I see that I'm following for doing this way. So I'm excited to see where that bring me to. It will be amazing. Yeah.
That is amazing. I feel like a lot of people are revamping their services right now. I've noticed. I think it's just a good change.
Yeah.
It's good to change, and your website too. Like take your time. I think there's no rush, and it's been hard. I've lately been trying to get myself off this like production capitalist mentality, trying to decolonize that, like, and being okay with rest and just for the hell of it. I don't have to, because sometimes I've noticed, like I was telling my friend, like I was telling Alex last night, I was like, I will wake up and say, I should do this today, this, like I should. And then when I don't get it done, I like punish myself mentally. And then I'm like, I got to start telling myself, I choose to do this today. I choose this. I desire to do this
Mhm.
so that it feels fun. Like, I don't like doing anything that's not fun or like I have to do it.
Reframing.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm just excited. I'm happy for all of us.
I'm
think
proud
we-
of all of us. Look at
Yeah.
this journey.
We have
Thank
all
you,
grown.
Paige, for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Paige.
Yeah.
I love the conversation. I hope that we can get to, gather another time and have another go at another topic. Like, it'll be fun.
It would
Yeah,
be fun.
I'm so down. I would love that.
I love talking with you guys. Thanks
I
for
love
having
talking
me.
to you guys.
Thank you for joining me today and have this wonderful conversation. Like, oh my God. And so proud, so proud, so happy for every one of us. Like, we're all just thriving out here.
I'm still
Oh,
here.
Jen.
It happened again.
Okay, I think we should let your phone get some rest as well. Your phone is
Like, I'm tired.
Okay. Bye, ladies.
All right.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Talk to you guys soon.
Do
Mwah,
not
mwah.
know how to leave.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.